All right, welcome everybody. It is a special start time today because unfortunately I do have to travel for the holidays here. But I don't know if you guys know, but it is my birthday today. Okay, so only once a year, right? I wish I had two birthdays. Unfortunately, it's only one, right? But today we're going to be doing something special. I have a very, very, very special discount for our families that are here today, right? I also have a bunch of case studies or two case studies I'm going to go over with you so that you can understand exactly what your situation might look like, what we will suggest, and also the results that we have been able to get. Okay. So for those that are here, go ahead and put your student's grade in the chat, right? But we're going to get started, right? It is November 26th, right after 4:30. Let's get into it. Okay. So again, we're going to be doing some financial aid news. Once again, it is my birthday. Thank you guys for being here on my special day. We're going to go over the case studies and then we're going to go over the special deals. Okay. So, just a little bit about me. If you guys haven't seen me before, my name's Coach David. I'm a former law school and college admissions reader. I've been working in the college admissions and financial aid space for the last 16 years now. Okay. So let's kind of move forward here. Okay. So financial aid news for November 26th, right? So there have been multiple articles that have come out, right? And it's saying that there's going to be more delays, right? Just as I had expected when they cut a bunch of staff, when the government shut down, right? All of that is coming to, all of that is coming to a head now. There's a lot of staffing shortages. There's data processing slowdowns. Now, what does that mean for 2026 families, right? Well, the silver lining in all this is, well, you have a bunch of time left because there's going to be too many schools, too many kind of FAFSA issues. So everyone is going to extend their deadline. So don't worry, you have plenty of time, right? Now, the consequences of what's going to happen with this is that financial aid packages might be late, just like they were in 2020, in 2024, right? Now, I don't know what it's going to look like for 2025, but it might look just as bad, right? So we'll kind of see what's going on there, right? But let's kind of move on. One of the things I always say is, well, if you guys are interested in the news that's happening around financial aid, there's probably no one that's looking at more news than I am. So I'll try to bring you guys the latest and greatest kind of highlights once we get through everything, right? Now, as I do every time, I do want to kind of shout out our coaching programs, right? We have students for this, class of 2026 that are already in, right? We have, a lot of schools have rolling admissions decisions. So, we have students in at Penn State, at ASU, at Rutgers already. But again, we're still waiting for a lot of early action, early decisions. Once they come out, hopefully I will have some more things to show you as far as results from this year. Okay. But if you are not one of our kind of, college coaching families, right? Please reach out to us. You can book a call with us, right? You can text 949-775-0865 and text book, or you can use the QR code to book a link on your own. Okay. But remember, the earlier you reach out to us, the more you can help us. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is that we have a one-time pricing, right? We don't charge you every year or every 6 months or based on the hours that you spend. We have a kind of lifetime pricing model. So whether you join us in ninth grade or 11th grade, the price is going to be the same. So why not get more for your money? Okay. Now, today we're going to be talking about case studies, right? And before we jump into the case studies, I want to give you a rough reminder of what the costs are for the different types of schools. Okay. So at a CSU, because I'm based in California, those are our home state schools, right? It's roughly around $32,000. At a UC, it's about $45,000. At an out-of-state public school, we're not really going to be talking about those today because, well, there's no need-based aid available to out-of-state students, right? But they're around 65 to $75,000, and private schools are hovering around $90,000. Okay. Now we're going to talk about case study number one. Okay. So this case study, it is a family. They live in the Bay Area, right? Like a lot of our families do in our coaching programs as well, right? Parents are married. Their income is around 230K, right? They have two dependents, two children, right? Their assets include 529s, right? They have 401K. They have a rental property. They own their family home, right? Then they have investments. Altogether, right? The equity in their homes plus the 529, 401K, and their investments, altogether, it's around $1.5 million. Okay. Now, this is what they got when they ran their information through the net price calculators, right? Now, every school has one of these on their websites. If you just type in a school name and type in MPC, you will see that they have a calculator that tells you how much money they're going to get, right? Now, at these different schools, I tried to choose like a CSU, a UC, a couple private schools, right? But I literally ran through this with the information that is above, right? And this is what I got out of it. At Cal Poly, right? San Luis Obispo, again, I said it's around 32,000, but depending on location, the actual sticker price changes between each of the different campuses. So their sticker price is $39,357. The price that this family has to pay that makes $230,000 a year, two dependents, right? They have, their family home, their rental home, still mortgaged, right? This family, they need to pay basically $40,000. They got $0 in free money. Okay. At UC Berkeley, right? The sticker price, right, is $51,904. That's not actually what you're going to be paying. It's probably closer to around 45, right? But they also got $0 in free money, right, on the MPC, right? Oh, and MPC means net price calculator, just so everyone knows, right? At Stanford, it was $77,000. That was their out-of-pocket cost. That's what they need to pay, right? That is 30% of their income. They got 12K in free money, 5.5K in student loans, right? For a total net cost of or total cost of Stanford being 94,000, they got 17.5 off. Now, if you actually look, only 12K is actually free money. 5.5K is in loans. Okay. Remember, loans are things you have to pay back. So I don't really include these in the money that I'm saving you. Right. And then for Santa Clara, right, the total out-of-pocket cost is $69,020, right? They got 16.6K in free money and 5.5K in loans. Okay. So they got 16K off. The rest they have to pay back later. Okay. So if you really look at it at Stanford, that means that they're paying 82, $83,000 a year. And at Santa Clara, they're paying about 74, $75,000 a year. Okay. Now, I'm sure there's some families out there in our audience that make around 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250, right? Now, can anyone say that comfortably that they can pay 70, $80,000 a year for college? I don't know if I'm going to get any answers or not. I'm gonna say that most people are gonna say no, right? Because out of that two to 250, you are paying taxes. You have to pay your mortgage, right? Yeah, your rental is kind of breaking even because the tenants are paying the mortgage, right? But you have other expenses. Your kid might need braces, right? There's a lot of different things that can go on. So realistically, a family making 230, they can't pay 70, $80,000 a year, right? Again, if you scrimp by, sure, I'm sure there's one way that you can do it. But can you do that for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? What if you have two kids, right? And they're back to back? Can you do that for 8 years straight? The answer is probably not, right? So let me tell you what our tips were for this family and kind of how we strategized, right? So we asked them to move the 529s to their grandparents or their relatives, right? They also had a little bit of a cash reserve, right? So they had more cash in their accounts than, well, they really needed. So paid down some debt there, right? Raised their equity, right? Things like that, right? We are also like this, we talked to this family early. So we are also able to kind of talk to them about selling their rental home, right? Because it had appreciated a lot. They were thinking about doing other things, other investments. And so they were able to kind of get out of the home, right? And put it into investments that don't necessarily show on your financial aid forms, right? And we also, they also created a small business in order to funnel more assets into the business, which now, starting this year, do not need to be reported on your FAFSA. Okay. So these were some of the tips that we gave them to be like, hey, these are ways that you can bring everything down, right? Now, I want to give you a comparison of what they got on their own or what they would have gotten and what we were able to get them, right? So at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, they saved zero. We saved them $6,900. At UC Berkeley, they saved zero. We saved them $14,700, right? At Stanford, we saved them $32,000 versus their 12. So we increased it $21,000. And at Santa Clara, it was way bigger. We increased it by $35,000. Okay. So for a lot of families, I'm not saying that you're going to get no money, but if you want to maximize the amount of money that you get, we are the way to go. Okay. Now, case study two, right? I wanted to show an example with a slightly higher income, right? So let's talk about this family. Again, California family, Bay Area, married, 360,000, one kid, right? They have all the same things, right? Their actual kind of like their total kind of like kind of asset level is actually 2.5 million. I forgot to change that there, right? But $2.5 million dollars in assets, they have $360,000 income, right? But the thing about this family was that their $360,000 income wasn't all cash flow, right? Like a lot of Bay Area families, this family, they got about $90,000 in stock, right? So, again, yes, that stock vested and they were paying taxes on the stock that had vested in that current year, but they never sold any stock. It was just sitting there, right? It's kind of like this paperweight until you actually do something with it, right? So their actual cash flow was closer to around 270. Okay. So the MPC results for this family, given like they just answered it on the MPC, zero money from Cal Poly, zero money from Berkeley, right? They got $3,000 from Stanford, right? And then loans. And then they got $4,000 from Santa Clara and then they got loans. So they basically got nothing across the board, right? When you actually think about it. Okay. So our tips for them. Obviously, maxing out retirement contributions, right? They had a larger cash reserve, so we discussed the different qualified annuities and life insurance policies that could bring their income down for the year that was critical for them, right? And they had multiple rental properties, so we advised them to talk to their kind of tax person about kind of creating a C corp. The C corp is the only kind of company type that will actually shield it from your personal tax returns. I know a lot of people have S corps or LLCs in California, at least, right? And in many other states, it doesn't matter if you have those. The only reason why you have an S corp or you have an LLC is to protect yourself legally, right? But on your tax returns, all of that income is passed through to your personal tax returns, right? Now, the one thing that it is like the C Corp, right? Even though it's a corporation and it seems all fancy, right? If it's family owned, you still do not need to disclose it on your FAFSA. Okay, so that's why we've suggested those types of things. Now, this is what we are able to do with this particular family, right? At San Luis Obispo, right? We got them $4,900 off from zero, right? From UC Berkeley, we got $6,900 off from zero, right? From Stanford, we got 15K off from 3K. So we 5x'd it, right? And then at Santa Clara, we got $23,000 versus 4K, right? Which is 5 point whatever X you want to call it, 5.75X, right? So we are able to kind of find the different crevices where more money lies. Okay. So just remember, right? If you think that you're out of luck, you're probably not. Even today, I had 10 consultations today, right? There's a lot of families out there that just like, yeah, well, they told me to sign up, so I signed up, but I don't think I'm gonna get anything. And then I talk through it, I'm like, oh my God, you're in a perfect position. Let's do this and this and this. And they're like, oh my God, I have a chance. I don't need to like reach into my retirement. And so they're happy, right? But I'm not gonna be able to do that unless you sign up. Okay. Now, there are a lot of different rumors out there. Our family makes too much money. I don't know what too much money means, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm a greedy person, but I'd like to keep more of my money and I'd also like to save more money, right? Our neighbors, relatives didn't get anything. We aren't going to, right? We own a home. We don't qualify. The FAFSA's for loans. Private schools will always be more expensive. Most of the time, yes, but for other families, I found that it's not, right? I can still get aid even if I don't fill it out, right? No, in order to get aid from schools, you do need to fill it out. And finally, kind of FAFSA is the only financial aid form. That's not true either. There's something called the CSS Profile. There's a system called iDoc. There's also a lot of different kind of pieces of the puzzle when it comes to different forms that are specific by each college. Okay. Now, what are the takeaways here, right? You think you know what you will save, right? But the MPCs, right? I showed you that they showed zero, but that's actually a better picture than what it actually looks like, right? And so, like when it says that Stanford was going to give you 15K, that's probably not the case because they're also going to like give you 15K, but they're also going to make you take a huge loan, this and that, so on and so forth. So don't trust what the NPCs are necessarily telling you, right? If they're telling you you're going to get zero, that's pretty close. But if they're telling you that you're going to save something within financial aid, please beware, right? If they tell you you're like at Stanford, it costs $94,000. If they say that you're going to get $50,000 in financial aid, don't trust it because most of the times at private schools, they have this default $30,000 parent loan that they want you to take. Okay. The next thing is don't just assume that your family is not going to get anything, right? 60% of my families that come in are families that didn't think they were going to get anything, sign up for our program, and have been with us for the last 3, 4, 5 years, right? For multiple students, right? And again, just reiterating it, the MPC doesn't really take into account the loans. So if they say they're going to give you $90,000 off, then expect that half of that is going to be in the form of a loan. Okay, remember, loans are also considered financial aid by the colleges because it is not something that you are currently going to be paying now. Okay. The one thing I ask, right, as we're going into this Thanksgiving season and my birthday, right, is ask for help, right? I don't mind talking to families, even if I'm not able to help you. Maybe I can give you some tips and tricks and some things that you can do for your next kid, right? But if you don't reach out to us, there's no way we can do anything for you. So whether it's on Facebook or Discord, email, whatever it is, reach out to us so that we can talk. Okay. And if you have a senior student and you haven't talked to me yet, well, let me know. I will wake up early. I will stay up late in order to talk to your family because, well, seniors, you're on the clock right now. Okay. Now, these results, right? These are from our last year students. So again, we've gone over these every single week, right? Saving, 20, 30, 40, $50,000, right? For different types of schools, right? And so, the one thing I will say is, for those that are here, right? Thank you, right? I know it's the day before Thanksgiving. You guys are probably brining your turkeys right now. But if you do have questions, go ahead and contact us at 650-860-5201. You can text money, and then, my support team will reach out so that we can kind of get you situated with a meeting. Okay. But more special today is my birthday, right? Every year on my birthday, right? It's kind of close to Black Friday every year. I do something crazy, right? Kind of like a once in a lifetime offer, right? And so here is my birthday discount this year, right? For the next 10 families that sign up for our program, right? You will only pay for your first year, right? The other 3 years are on me. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to limit it to the first 10 families. Okay. So if you are interested, please sign up as soon as possible, right? The fastest way to book a call is actually not to use the QR code. It's to text us so that my support team can find the next opening slot in my schedule and then sign you up that way. Okay. But once again, how you sign up, please text us at 650-860-5201. Okay. All right, so I do want to open it up for questions as well. So if you guys do have questions, go ahead, put them in the Q&A, put them in the chat, and then I will go ahead and answer those questions for you. Okay. All right, I'll give that a second. Okay. But I believe last year, was it last year? Maybe, I forget. I think last year Thanksgiving was on my birthday, but I was actually born on Thanksgiving, right? So my year, I was born on Thanksgiving. Unfortunately, my parents weren't able to have Thanksgiving dinner that year in particular. But so on my birthday, kind of like on my birthday, usually there's a turkey around somewhere, right? Whether it's the full turkey or remnants of a turkey, right? And then a birthday cake, which is also fun, right? Because we're gonna have dessert anyway. Okay. But I don't see any questions today, right? I think you guys are all too shocked by the discount that I have offered. Okay. But if you guys do have questions, please reach out to us and then we will talk again soon. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, a happy Thanksgiving with their family and their friends, right? And then we will see you after the holiday. Okay. Everyone have a great night and we'll talk again soon. Bye bye.